Hi, my name is Scott Wozniak, and I'm here to decide which one was a waste of money and which one was a waste of money-er. Yes, on the launch of the Nintendo Switch on March 3rd, 2017, many a customer walked out of their game store with not only a Nintendo Switch, not only Breath of the Wild, but Breath of the Wild with a coin! For like $150. This is the Breath of the Wild Special Edition. Now, there were two versions of the Breath of the Wild Collector's Edition. There was the Special Edition and the Master Edition. Now, the Master Edition came with a statue of the Master Sword, and it was significantly more expensive, and especially nowadays. I bought this one after the fact, like within the past year, and looking at the prices of the Special Edition and looking at the prices of the Master Edition, I ain't paying for that. Especially when, from what I can tell, that statue of the Master Sword is very similar in quality to, like, some of the better, like, amiibo figures out there. You know, it's probably, you know, better than that. But, yeah, I mean, you look at something like the Breath of the Wild Guardian amiibo, and something like that is way cooler and way more articulate than the damn Master Sword statue that came with the Master Edition of Breath of the Wild. And even, like, that's like going for what? Like $900? I'm not a huge fan when there's multiple collector's editions for games. Because at that point, like, if you're a true collector, like, don't you want to get both collector's editions because they're both different boxes? I just think it's a bit much, you know? I think just having one standard collector's edition is all you really need, which is what they did for Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild's follow-up. So, I kind of want to compare and contrast these collector's editions just for fun. There is absolutely no other purpose for doing this. Let's take a look at Breath of the Wild's Special Edition first. First up, we have a copy of the game. What? A Nintendo Switch carrying case designed to look like the Sheikah slate from the game, which was, you know, I think that is one of the most useful additions to any collector's edition in recent memory. I mean, this came at the launch of the Nintendo Switch. You didn't have a carrying case yet for that thing. In fact, I remember back then, it was like really hard to find the official Nintendo-made carrying case. Now, what was the official Nintendo-made carrying case? That. Yeah, there is absolutely nothing special about this case. It is just officially produced by Nintendo, and that is it. But I specifically wanted this one because, oh boy, if it's made by Nintendo, I'd f it sure. I don't know. I just like official first-party things. I mean, like, yeah, sure, you have, like, these ones that are, probably, yeah, actually infinitely better, but they're made by stinky-ass PDP or Hori or whatever. But with the Breath of the Wild Special Edition, you get an official Nintendo-made carrying case on launch day that looks like the Sheikah slate from Breath of the Wild, which is pretty damn cool. A soundtrack CD, a map, and a coin. I never know what you're supposed to do with these collector's coins. Just put them on the shelf. They're lying flat. I'm not gonna be able to look at it very well. And how much did this cost? Well, anything I said prior to this very moment was blatant misinformation. I just looked it up. This originally retailed for $100 when the Master Edition retailed for $130. So this was $40 more than the base game. Also, there was no Wii U version of the Special Edition. Now, we're gonna have to see how all of these little doodads come together and see if that's truly worth an extra $40. I think at the very least the case is worth like an extra $20 to $30. So let's see if that coin is really worth 10. But before we do that, I kind of want to take a look at this fella right here, the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition. I gotta be honest, when this was initially announced, I thought this was lame as hell. With the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition, you get a game, an art book, a steel book, a pin set, and a poster. Not only a poster, an icon art poster, trademark. Well, hot damn. Well, this at the very least feels a little more special. This just feels like the most, like, basic ideas for what to cram into a collector's edition. Oh, pins. Well, I want to see what's going on with the Breath of the Wild Special Edition first. So, let's take a look. You know what? I'm digging the fact that the cardboard does have kind of the Breath of the Wild-esque patterns and designs on it. That's pretty slick. And here we have the Sheikah Slate carrying case. And yeah, this is a very sturdy carrying case. And like most collector's editions contain just like a bunch of useless junk that you're never gonna use. Whereas this actually contains something like incredibly useful. And it's obviously an added bonus that it does look like the Sheikah Slate. That's just pretty cool. And then for the second layer, ooh, it still retains the Breath of the Wild fun. Yeah, this one's blue, but it still has some iconography right here, which is really, really neat. First up, we have the game, which it does a weird thing that a lot of Nintendo published games do when they are included in larger packages like this, if it's like a collector's edition or whatnot. It doesn't have any information on the back, and it doesn't have like an ESRB logo on it. It's like weird. I think that's interesting because then you have like different variances of the game lurking out there that's like, oh, that's cool, this one came from the collector's edition. I guess it's all because, like, technically speaking, the back is here. But still, what if I want to read up on what makes this game worthy of being played by a 10-year-old, but not a 9? I gotta pick up this box every single time to do that? Why can't I do it on the actual game? It's just kind of a weird little thing. It doesn't really matter. It's honestly more of like a funny little quirk at that point. Here we have the soundtrack CD, which is, I believe like the term is like a digipack, where it's not like a jewel case, it's not a cardboard sleeve. It's kind of like a mix between the two. And opening that up, it's nice. They have all the songs included on the side here, and it's most of the stuff you'd assume. The main theme, Field during the day. What? That would be interesting to listen to in the car. Fun little sporadic piano medleys as I'm blasting down the highway. Breath of the Wild has a fantastic soundtrack, but most of it isn't necessarily something that I'd really want to listen to outside of the game. There's definitely exceptions. I wonder if the paragliding theme is here. No. So, yeah, this is worthless. But still, a cool addition. 24 songs included there. Definitely enough. Definitely enough to feel like, yeah, this is something. Well, if that's something, what the hell is this? This is the collector's coin. You have, like, the Sheikah Eye here, and then the Zelda Z. This is a damn giveaway. This is something they give you for just, like, participating at, like, PAX West or something. I'm not gonna sit here and act like these collector's coins aren't inherently kind of cool looking. I mean, like, they're substantial kind of metal coins. That's neat. But again, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I put it on there and it's just like, what? It's just gonna sit there? That's what what am I supposed to do with these? I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. You put it back where it was in the collector's edition and you leave it there. I swear all these collector's editions have like at least 2 things that you're always, that's just what it's gonna happen. You're just gonna leave it in the collector's edition itself. You're gonna take it out, you're gonna say that's cool, and you're gonna put it back. Case in point, oh, that's cool. The map! This is a weather-worn map and relic of Hyrule Calamity Ganon tapestry. Yeah. That's a little neat. You know what? Yeah, that seems a little weather-worn, as we can see. Look at that! For some reason, I was almost thinking this was going to be like a cloth map. The fact that it isn't doesn't really bother me. In fact, I think this is way cooler. This feels like a legitimate map that's kind of been a little... been through the ringer. And then we have, like, the tale of Calamity Ganon right here that was told by, Impa in, like, the first 2 hours of Breath of the Wild. This is definitely pretty cool. When it comes to this being a useful world map, I don't think this is. When they say weather-worn, they definitely mean it's weather-worn. Like, a lot of this is fairly blurry. And, I wouldn't say this is necessarily, like, the most, useful. Like, it's not like one of the Grand Theft Auto maps that you'd get with, like, the games back in the day, where you could actually kind of use those maps to kind of get around the city. Of course, like, the entire thing with Breath of the Wild, and one of the things that so many people say is, like, magical about that game, is that if, like, you turn off the HUD and you don't even look at the map, you can still kind of make your way by, you know? You can still kind of find your way to your destinations, which is really cool. So, you know, like, if you want to, you could probably use this map to roughly, like, you know, get to your destinations. And it would probably be pretty cool to do that, because that would really make you feel like an adventurer. But you know, casually playing, yeah, I don't think this is very useful. But fellas, that was the Breath of the Wild Special Edition for $100. For only $30 more, we get kind of a dinky little statue of the Master Sword. You know, I mean, you're already spending like 40 extra dollars. What's 30 more? I mean, I would have bought that one on eBay, but like those versions are so damn expensive. I mean, like, I don't even think it was worth it for $130 back then. Now, I'd rather spend my money on different shit to complain about. The Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition. This one's just called the Collector's Edition. There was only one version this time around. And it cost the same as the Master Edition of Breath of the Wild, the most expensive version there. Jesus. Yeah, Nintendo's prices have just gone up substantially. Of course, prices have gone up all over the place, so, you know, I mean, like, you could always make that excuse. But it's also like, it's fucking pins, man. God, I love Tears of the Kingdom, but I wasn't super interested in this collector's edition. I kind of bought it afterwards when I thought about comparing and contrasting this with, you know, the original Breath of the Wild's special edition. But you know, I'm happy to have this because, you know, I love Tears of the Kingdom. It is genuinely one of my favorite games of all time. But I feel like at this point, like, it's kind of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom share a spot. Because, like, I don't know. Like, I feel weird for being like, oh, this is better than Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild had, you know, like, wowed me so much more or something. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I love them both equally. But will the same be said about the Collector's Edition? Because we all know that matters. When it comes to the presentation, the box isn't as cool. Yes, you're going for a more minimalistic style. And of course, like, you know, this is a very Tears of the Kingdom design. But this isn't fun to look at. I know the Breath of the Wild Special Edition is literally just the box art, but I mean, come on. The logo's like a shimmering gold. That's fun. This isn't fun. So what came in our box of goodies? Well, first up, I believe this is our damn pin set. Oh, look at that. It's like the icons of the sage spirits from the game. You know what? That is pretty fun. I was almost expecting it to be like the most distorted versions of like the key art from the game. Like just a little button with Link on it or something. But you know what? That's pretty neat. I will not use these, but the fact that they exist and I have them is kind of cool. It's going right back in the box. Here we have one of my least favorite things. And there's a lot of bad shit in this world, so what does that say about me, or what does that say about this? It's a steelbook! Yeah, and it just kind of shows like what was on like the wall at the beginning of the game. Just kind of telling the story of Rauru. It's hard for me to say his name sometimes. Now why don't I like steelbook? Because they don't match the rest of the games, man. I like my games to match the rest of the games. I don't like a steelbook to really be there, especially because it's just like, I don't know, you can barely tell what this game is from the spine. If you catch the light right, you can see it says The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but barely. And of course, like, when you put this up against the rest of the Switch games, like, of course, oh, which one is Tears of the Kingdom? The one that isn't a red Switch game. Yeah, that, you know, is not a big deal. But, you know, there's other Switch games with steelbooks. Specifically, I have, like, the Smash Bros. Ultimate Steelbook. And I didn't like that one because the artwork on that, it's just not as cool as the actual box art. The box art's so colorful. It's amazing. You have all these characters, like, up in the air. And then you open up the game box, and you have, like, all the characters lined up there. It's incredible. And then the steelbook is just completely black. It has, like, the Fiery Smash logo, and the inside is just a screenshot of Battlefield. I don't want that. And like, this, like, okay, it's kind of cool, you know, like, it's nice and shiny, and you have, like, you know, like, the story being told on the wall here and on the inside here. That's all special, but, like, compared to the actual box art, I'd rather have the actual box art. The box art looks a lot better. But thankfully, what I like about this collector's edition is that it does contain, like, an actual copy of the game, like, with an actual, like, case and everything. The Smash Brothers Collector's Edition, that just had the game card in the Steelbook. You didn't actually get a standard copy of the game, so I like that. You get a Steelbook and you actually get, like, a regular copy, so you can choose which one you want, and the Steelbook is just kind of a cool little collectible at that point. Interestingly, though, this is a full copy of the game, unlike the Breath of the Wild version with the nothing on the back other than artwork. You know, it's definitely because the actual special edition does not have the standard back artwork design here, so they just give you a standard copy of the game. Just weird that they do that, man. Alright, and underneath all of this, we have a pretty meaty art book. Nothing here seems to be localized. I'm seeing a lot of kanji, which is interesting. You know, it is really cool because if a lot of this is the actual artist's handwriting, that's really cool to see here. Though it would be nice to see, you know, what this says in English. Though to be fair, I mean, a lot of this is kind of like pretty self-explanatory, like, you know, it's a pail. And for an art book included in a collector's edition, it's like over 200 pages long. Like, this goes well above and beyond what I've seen out of most collector's edition art books. Most of the time, they're kind of just tossed in there. They're kind of just thrown together. Just like, you know, maybe like a couple dozen pages. I know, like, a couple dozen pages. Oh, no. But, like, most of the time, a lot of the pages have just a bunch of fluff on them, nothing interesting. Like, this is a legitimate art book that you could imagine buying in the store. I will say, it's probably not, like, up there as, like, one of the best art books of all time. Like, if I bought this in the store for, like, $50 or something, I'd probably feel a little, like, man. Like, I'd appreciate a lot more text. I'd appreciate a lot more just, like, info, behind the scenes tidbits, all of that stuff. But yeah, I would say this is putting the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition in a pretty high place right now. But we gotta see what's going on here. So the Breath of the Wild Special Edition had a poster of some sort, a map. Tears of the Kingdom has a steel poster, an icon art poster, no less. And get this. It comes with a warning. Notice, due to the strength of the adhesive used, the adhesive tape may damage surfaces if you attempt to remove it after application. This is gonna be sick. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store who randomly came across a steel poster and is like, what the f do you want me to do with this? Gotta be honest though, this is very, very nice. I've never used a steel poster before, but it seems that you can apply this magnet to the wall, and then you can snap this poster on it, and then bada bing, bada boom, you're all set. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of lame that it's just the box art for Tears of the Kingdom. You know, the poster and map you got with Breath of the Wild was a little more unique and original compared to this, which is just kind of like the most basic-ass artwork from Tears of the Kingdom. But, you know, it's still pretty cool. It's still like a pretty sizable, meaty thing. It comes in like this really like a lot of packaging for what it is. It's pretty insane. That is the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition. It sure was. Never before have I been faced with such a difficult decision to make. Which stupid-ass Collector's Edition did I think was less of a waste of money? And that's tricky, because I do think at the end of the day, Breath of the Wild's Collector's Edition was a little more interesting to kind of like open up and flip through. I kind of felt a little more giddy going through that. Whereas with Tears of the Kingdom, it just didn't feel as interesting. There wasn't as much creativity involved with what was included here. Whereas with Breath of the Wild, I mean, you have a carrying case that looks like a Sheikah slate. That's really cool. The weathered map was gorgeous, even if it wasn't like that useful. The coin was quality, but it's like, again, what do you want me to do with that? And honestly, same goes for the soundtrack CD. Soundtrack CDs at this point are more so kind of like cool additions that are like, wow, so cool that I have a physical CD. I'm never gonna play this. It's more so cool that like you have it. It's like a physical embodiment of the soundtrack. Are you really going to plug it in? Probably not, but, you know, it's kind of cool that it's there. Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like this entire collector's edition was really held up by the art book, and even then, it's not like the greatest art book out there. One of the coolest ones as far as inclusions in collector's editions, for sure, but as an art book on its own, it's fine. The pin set, it's kind of cool that it's like the sage icons, but it's just like, after that one little revelation of like, oh, that's neat, that's a reference to the game, like, they aren't, like, like, all the pins look the same. I like that the steelbook is included alongside an actual copy of the game. The steel poster is cool that it's steel, but the fact that it's the box art, this one wins. That's not to say this is bad, but I definitely feel a little less joy going through that compared to Breath of the Wilds. Breath of the Wilds, I mean, not only do you have functionality with the carrying case, you get spunk with that thing too. It's the damn Sheikah Slate. But overall, both of these are pretty cool at the very least. I do feel like, you know, it is a bit of a downgrade with this one, which makes me look forward to Breath of the Wild 3, which will include literally a bag of human puke. And that one will be $200.